After trying Meghan's one-pot spaghetti recipe, I knew I had to try another dish from With Love Meghan. This time I went for her focaccia from episode 4. The recipe looked straightforward, and since I've made focaccia before and eaten it more times than I can count, I was excited to revisit it. I doubled the recipe because, let's be honest, if you're going to make bread, you might as well make extra to freeze. Now, if you've never made focaccia before, it's one of the easiest breads to start with. No complicated shaping or fancy scoring, just a beautiful rustic loaf that's crisp on the outside, fluffy on the inside, and infused with olive oil. It's a classic Italian bread that dates back thousands of years. Some say its origins go back as far as ancient Rome, while others trace it back further than that. Either way, it's been around a long time, and for good reason. The beauty of focaccia is in its simplicity. You only need a handful of ingredients: flour, yeast, olive oil, warm water, and salt. In terms of technique, some methods involve long overnight fermentation for extra flavor, while others lean towards a more accessible, quick rise approach. In the show, Meghan leaves her dough to rise slowly in the fridge overnight, then takes it out and leaves it to rise for a couple more hours. I made mine on the same day, leaving my dough to rise for 3 hours. After this time, I preheated my oven to 210 degrees Celsius. Then I tipped the dough out into a well-greased pan. In the show, she spreads her pan with a combination of olive oil and butter. I did the same but used a vegan butter alternative. Then I left it to rise for another 30 minutes. Either way you choose to raise your dough, the end result is a chewy, airy bread with that signature dimpled top. Dimpling the dough is probably the most satisfying part, not just because it's fun, but because it helps trap little pockets of olive oil, giving the bread its signature crispiness and golden color. I love how cooking shows like With Love Meghan can introduce people to the joy of making food from scratch. Whether it's a simple pasta dish or a homemade bread recipe, it's a reminder that food is about more than just eating. It's about connection, discovery, and creativity in the kitchen. And sometimes you just need that little push of inspiration to try something new. Speaking of inspiration, focaccia is one of those breads that you can easily customize. You can stick with classic rosemary and olive oil, or you can go wild with cherry tomatoes, caramelized onions, olives, or even vegan cheese. It's so versatile. I kept it simple this time, following the version Meghan tried, but next time I might experiment a bit more. The bread baked for 25 minutes and came out perfect. I'll show you a cross section so you can see how soft and fluffy it is. Since I made extra, I ended up storing some for later. The best way to keep focaccia fresh is to wrap it tightly and freeze it. When I'm ready to eat, I'll just pop it in a hot oven for a few minutes and it'll taste just as good as freshly baked. Bread like this is perfect for meal prep, whether as a side for soup, a sandwich base, or just for snacking. I toasted a few slices and made avocado toast for brunch the other day, and it was delicious. So that's my take on Meghan's focaccia recipe. I love how something so simple can be so satisfying to make. If you're inspired to give it a try, the recipe is on the Netflix website, and I'll also leave the recipe in the description below. If you've ever made focaccia before, let me know. Do you go classic or do you love to experiment with toppings? Either way, this bread is definitely one to keep in your back pocket. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe because I post a new video every week, and I will catch you next time. Bye.